Well, well, well. I'm glad that I heard Sheldon Neidl yesterday explain that one of the symptoms of star seeds, or one of the signs of star seeds, is very short periods of sleep. And it seems like, I used to get 3 to 5 hours a night. Lately, there's times that I don't sleep more than 1 to 2 hours in a stretch, and then I'm awake. And I don't like that, but it's the way it is. I would prefer to be able to sleep for longer durations, but just doesn't seem to want to happen for me. Anyway, today's title is 2012 From Sovereignty to Slavery and Back. We were created sovereigns. Our natural state is to be free. However, slavery results when this is forgotten. The human journey is about forgetting, and about remembering too. The journey has been long and arduous. We have all ridden on the roller coaster of emotion, thrills and chills, agony and ecstasy. It is my conviction that 2012 will complete the phase of ignorance in which we became enslaved by our own amnesia. It also begins the next phase of reconnecting with life, all of life. For a long time, the human family has lived under the domination of the illusion of separation. The illusion of our senses, if you will. For we indeed see ourselves as separate bodies, and separate names, and separate nationalities, and separate religions, and separate genders, and separate everything. It has been dominated by the illusion of separation. So how does sovereignty fit into all of this? Sovereignty is the very trait that allowed us to create the illusion of separation. If we weren't sovereigns, that is, if we weren't capable of creating a world in which we could each have our individuation, our own singular identity, separation would have never been able to occur. We would have all been together. But ignorantly, or let's just say, maybe not ignorantly, but totally unaware that there was any other option. So we created another option, the option of the prodigal son and the prodigal daughter, to leave our natural state of being interconnected with all that is, and aware, if you can call it aware. How can you be aware of something when you don't know that there's anything else? You haven't experienced anything else. So is that really awareness, or is it non-awareness? To me, it would be non-awareness. So we created and gave to ourselves the gift. Through our sovereign ability, we gave ourselves the gift of being able to know ourselves as individuals, to know ourselves as unique, and yes, separate. But in that transaction of leaving the unity and leaving the oneness, we became enslaved. We created a matrix designed by the illusion of separation, a matrix that would ultimately enslave us to the degree that we'd have to even ask permission to do things that are normal and natural, like moving from one place to another without interference, without obstacles thrown in the way. We created a system in which there would be lack, or at least the illusion of lack, because separation creates the illusion of lack. That person over there that lives in a nice house, drives a nice car, is able to travel and go on vacations to all parts of the world. They have lots of money. They wear nice clothes. And over here, there's this other human that doesn't have any of that, that lives in a hut with a dirt floor, scrounges daily for enough food to eat, travels only by foot because there is no other mode of transportation available. From wealth to poverty, we've created the illusion of separation. We've created it, and it is the only reality we've known. I've talked to people, and they say, there's no evidence that we can ever rise above this. Only one or two individuals in history, or a handful of individuals in all of history, have been able to transcend this condition, this slavery of human life, the bondage of the illusion of separation. But 2012 is here. 2011 was last year, in which there was a completion. The 9th wave completed, and then we went into the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th wave in a very short time. Very short time. And as I said back then in November, we entered the space of no time. And since November last year, we've been in no time. It's a timelessness in which there's an overlapping of the age of forgetting with the age of remembering, the Piscean age with the Aquarian age, the overlapping of the age of domination with the age of freedom. And it's hard to tell sometimes as we look at this exactly what's going on, because it still seems like the slavery is present, and it is. And yet so is the freedom. So is the sovereignty. So is the awareness that we have a higher destiny, a higher calling. The awareness that we are connected to all of life, despite the fact that we see ourselves as separate. Despite the fact that we see ourselves as disconnected, there is an awareness that we are interconnected with all things. It's an awareness that mystics and people of spiritual, with a highly developed spiritual nature, have long told us. But in our generation, scientists are telling us. It's not just a priestcraft or a bunch of radical mystics, but the very scientists are saying, hey, everything is connected to everything else. Nothing is really separate. We all swim in the same soup of life. And it's all consciousness. It's all alive. Everything responds to everything else when you have the ability to measure it and witness it, as our scientists have been able to do, and even to theorize what even cannot be seen. To theorize because it makes sense mathematically, it makes sense scientifically, it makes sense spiritually. We are one. But we are one in a different way than we were one at the beginning. This time we are one with the knowledge of what it's like to not be part of the one, or at least think we're not part of the one. We have an awareness that we could have never had any other way. We could have never gotten this by any other method. It just wouldn't have happened if we had not become prodigal sons and daughters, leaving our sovereignty behind and entering into a land of slavery. And the land of slavery is not just those that are the victims of it, but those that are the perpetrators of it, because each plays the role that is necessary. One could not exist without the other. They are interdependent roles. And as I listened to Drake last night, and he talked about his letter to the military, his open letter to the military, giving them an opportunity to step in and make the arrests of these people that have dominated, the enslavers, if you will, to arrest them. And if they didn't do it, then it was going to be done by extraterrestrials, specifically the Pleiadians. I sense that I'm of Pleiadian heritage. I've long sensed that. Don't know if it's true, but I've sensed it. Because there is a divine edict, if you will. Time is running out. The earth is going to go through changes. They're either going to be cataclysmic, in which the human family is cast off, or the changes are going to be eased because the human family awakens and remembers finally that we don't have to be slaves anymore. We don't have to be in bondage to that part of ourselves that wants to control others, that wants to have it all, despite others having nothing. It's actually a birth of compassion, this recognition that we are interconnected. There can be no compassion without that recognition. But we're gaining that recognition every day. More and more people are coming into that awareness every day. And this changes everything. This shifts the entire fabric of creation itself. It changes the matrix. It brings the matrix down. It is my hope and my wish that even the elite will come home. But I can't make that choice. It's an individual choice that each one of us must make for ourselves. No one can make it for us. No one can pull us in or push us ahead. It's something we have to choose for ourselves, each one of us individually. We are sovereigns who became slaves and have the opportunity now, today, to become sovereign again. To just say no, no more, to the abuse of separation consciousness, to the abuse of anyone trying to enslave and entrap me in that slavery. I am sovereign. I am free. You are sovereign. You are free. But if you don't know your rights, you don't have any. You have the right to be free. You have the right to be a creditor and not a debtor. You have the right to be a light shining in the darkness and a help for those that are just waking up. You have that possibility. What are you going to do with it? It's your potential. No one can unlock it for you. You must unlock it for yourself. The key is your choice. What are you going to choose today? Namaste.